All right, here he is. During his 8-year career with the Chargers and Bills, this guy was one of the most feared linebackers in football. Now, he's a co-founder of Lights Out Extreme Fighting, 3-time Pro Bowler, Shawne Merriman. Thanks for being here, Shawne.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Shawne, I want to talk Lights Out Extreme Fighting in a second, but let's chat football and the state of football right now. At the beginning of the season, I know you're a big Chargers guy out there. At the beginning of the season, at least here in LA, there was a lot of buzz about a potential Rams-Chargers Super Bowl at the new stadium. Are you buying it? Which team do you think has a better shot at reaching it? Is that a pipe dream anyway? Should I be putting my money on those two teams?
No, and I said that from the start. And, the Chargers didn't look great the last game and losing, to the Ravens or whatnot. But let's face it, the Ravens are really good, and people are overlooking that. I still say that's a big possibility. I've been saying it before the season. I'm saying it now. One bad game doesn't define a whole entire season. And actually, if you look at the Chargers, how their season going, they probably should be 5-1, sitting at 5-1, right? They should have beat Dallas. They had a couple bad calls being taken, touchdowns taken off the board. So, they should be sitting around at 5-1, but 4-2. I mean, you're talking about a long football season, man. This is a long way to go.
It does seem like we're still miles away from the finish line here. What would you think as a player? You go and you play in LA. If you were on the Chargers, you can't get mad at the fans that actually show up and root for the team. But when you look up and you see that 70%, in some cases, like the Steelers coming to town, it's probably 80, 85%. Patriots will be well represented this week. Well, how infuriated would you be seeing the fans from the opposite city in the stands?
I always say this, it doesn't matter how you come, it's how you leave. Right. And how you leave with 3 L's. And so, look, people come to California to retire or better jobs, whatever the location is. A lot of people don't leave California and move to Kansas City, or move to Pittsburgh, or move to Buffalo. It happens, but very seldom. So you're going to have people that have, want a different quality of life. Moving to California, you're going to have those other teams there. Now, I think that the whole situation, when you look at the grand scheme of things, I've been to all the Chargers games. I think the narrative is completely wrong on how they, put it out there. There's been several times it's been 70-30 Chargers fans.
It's getting better. Okay.
And it's getting better. And then when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, you have a team like the Chargers have that's going to be good for a very long time. You're going to start getting those people who are on the fence and don't know which team to root for. Maybe they grew up a Kansas City fan or Denver fan. But they're not really, with them now. The new team is out, so you're going to have that. That's going to start happening, but give it some time. They just got to win some more games.
And younger fans too, right? As the younger kids, the teenagers and so forth. All right. Now, a guy you met in the 2007 AFC Championship, Tom Brady. He doesn't show any signs of slowing down. Another 4 TDs yesterday. He is 6-1. To win MVP. When you're watching him at home, do you still want to jump out of your chair and sack him? I heard you once say that Tom made a weird noise once you hit him.
He does. It's a little oof, like one of those noises. Everybody got their own whiff, But
I think we should dress that up a little. You should go on record. We'll start over. Why don't you make the noise something like a little more flamboyant, like something like that?
It's a little bit. No, it's deeper because when you land on him, he can't really breathe as much on the ground. Right? So one of those things. But that one. But the truth of the matter is this. It sounded crazy 3 years ago when he said he could play to almost 50 years old. It sounded, and just knowing the game and what my body went through as a linebacker and stuff like that. And I played with guys that had long careers at 15. Played with Lorenzo Neal, who played a long time at fullback, and Donnie Edwards played 15 plus years, I believe it was, at linebacker. So I've been around guys who played the game for a long time. He doesn't show any signs right now of slowing down. It looks up to par, exactly what he said. Now, the problem is that we're starting to, see what Ben Roethlisberger and some of these guys, is that the longer the season goes, when we get to week 10, 11, 12, if he's still going at the rate he's going right now, then absolutely he can play till he's close to 50 years old.
Jeez, that's crazy to think, but you're right.
Your age shows the season is so long. It's it's mentally grueling, physically grueling. So as the season go on, that's when you're going to start to show signs of your age. I remember even my last year, I was like, a Thursday night game. What? Hold on. What? I'm just feeling better from Sunday, right? So it's immaculate what he's doing. It's incredible.
It really is. Yeah, especially since they throw curveballs at you, adding the 17th week. And like you said, the Thursday thing is a relatively new thing, you know, and he still perseveres. And you say the number 50, but who is to argue with him? I mean, he's not slowing down at all. Defensively, defensive player of the year. Who do you like watching? Myles Garrett's the favorite at 3-1. TJ Watt 5-1. Trayvon Diggs. We're Cowboys fans here. We're loving what we're seeing there. The Boses are in the mix, 25 and 30-1. Who's your guy?
It's hard to go against Myles Garrett. It really is. You know, Diggs. I like. He's a Maryland kid. He grew up in Maryland. Him and Stephon. Stephon went to the University of Maryland. So I'm always support the Maryland boys, but. Myles Garrett he's one of these guys that come around like every 10 to 15 years, right? You see these freakish guys, you look at him in person, he doesn't even look real. I mean, he posts some of these stuff on Instagram or whatnot, but you know, some of the, you know, with all this Photoshop and things going on nowadays, you don't know how big somebody, you know, when you see this guy in person,
right?
He's like just next level. I played in Jarvis Landry's charity softball tournament a couple of years back and in Cleveland. And so it was my first time really seeing Myles Garrett. And I'm not a small dude by any means, but you know, you see him, it's like, okay, this dude is stacked up. He's like on another level. Yeah. So and in a way he's playing, you can move him at D tackle, D end, you can move him all around the field. He's going to be a problem for you.
Yeah, and you know he's confident too because he provides bulletin board material with that. What in his front yard? He has like a graveyard of all the quarterbacks he's put down. Like. Coincidentally, there's no Mason Rudolph in there too, but I like the trash talk. I like that. That shows that this guy's got guts and knows where he is in this game.
Yeah, but you know, I thought that was creative and it's right up his alley. Like, they had a ESPN piece countdown. They did best sack dances yesterday on ESPN, and they had some of the best sack rushers, pass rushers on there, and dances or whatnot. And so, you know, the main thing is when you're a defensive player is your mentality, how confident you are, and can you stop this dude? He can have all the quarterbacks in his front yard he want and blocking guys, but can you block him? Yeah, you know, that's really what it comes down to.
I hope are you about to say? I hope your dance was on there, right? You had one of the great ones, right? Where'd they list you?
They didn't go by numbers, but you know, obviously it's number one. I mean, come on now, let's not beat around the bush here.
You stopped doing it. You consciously stopped doing the dance, right? You just what did you think? I mean, did you get flagged for it? Who the hell knows what stage in the NFL was in their penal handouts? But what did you think there?
I was on a sack slump. I think a 3 or 4 game slump where I didn't get any sacks. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to stop doing it. All right. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not doing it no more. And then it was my teammates who was like, man, you're crazy as hell. You stop doing that. Like, that gets us all pumped up. Don't do that. You know? So I kept doing it.
You got the nickname Lights Out in high school. I think this is right because you rendered 4 players unconscious in one game. Is that possible?
Yeah.
I mean, you should not play again in high school. You should be like, hey, there's my body of work right there. If you want to draft me, I should probably just go pro right now. Like, was there any doubt there? Were the scouts coming around before that anyway? Or you were just like, that? I'm going wherever I want.
I'll tell you a funny story. That happened my sophomore year. And so the next few weeks, I would have parents like literally trying to not really protest, but physically stop me, stand in front of the gate when we walk onto the field.
Wow.
And trying not to let me get on the field because they thought the coaches were holding me back for 2 or 3 years. They thought I was like 3 years older.
Oh.
And so I said, you know, this is my sophomore year. I said, by the way, guys, I'm the youngest on the team. Like, I'm the youngest on the whole team. And I had parents physically trying to stop me from getting on the field and playing with their kid. And having an 11-year-old son now, I get it, you know.
Right. And did you render the parents unconscious? I mean, that's the only response that's necessary. No. Okay, I want to ask you. So now we're into MMA. You've gone the MMA route. Do you think coming out of college now you would have wanted to go into the NFL, or would you have done the mixed martial art thing professionally?
No, I would have. Obviously, still football my first love. It still is. And MMA became a thing that I utilized initially to start helping me with football, right? Getting my hands better and leverage and stuff like that. I was working with Jay Glazer over at Fox Sports, and Brady Couture. And so we just started working my hands, pummeling leverage and doing some groundwork. And I just naturally got better as a football player. So that's why I started. I grew up boxing. In the PG County, Prince George's County, Washington, D.C. area, Virginia, there's tons of champion boxers. And so I grew up boxing. But MMA, when I got drafted by the Chargers, became big on the West Coast and kind of got more mainstream. So I started training MMA. So for 16 years, I've been around this sport.
So, but in your prime, who's someone outside the MMA world, maybe an NFL player you would have loved to step in the cage with?
At one point I wanted to beat up Ocho Cinco really bad. The weight class wouldn't have worked.
Right.
If there was some kind of catch, something we could have done, I would have definitely put hands on him if I could have at one point. But it's I've trained with like Richie Incognito, who's a tremendous athlete. Right. Mercedes Lewis is another one who I think would be a champion fighter if he ever got serious with it. Tons, man. There's tons of football guys who I think, and nowadays Aaron Donald, I think he would be a great one. Khalil Mack. If you start looking at these guys across the board, I think they'll make great MMA fighters.
And you've got, so now it's LXF6 on October 30th. That's this Saturday in Burbank, right in our backyard here in Burbank on the Fubo Sports Network. 3 title fights. Tell us a little about it.
Yeah, it's 3 title fights, man. And a lot of these guys are very familiar in the MMA space. They've been around for a long time. A few guys who fought at UFC before. But I don't think we've ever had a card this stacked with up and coming talent. Obviously, the three title fight is going to be next level. Alba Morales and that Henry fight is going to be. There's no way that fight is going to distance. But you got another kid, John Paul Bosnian, who his dad was MMA fighter, a long time trainer as well too. And he's trained with Conor McGregor for a long time. He's going to be another up and coming champ one day. I think he's fighting Devin Brock. Manukian is a wrestler that we have. This whole card, man, I'm trying to, we would love to keep these guys, but they're so damn good that this card is probably the best we've had it since the existence of Lights Out.
Yeah, so you need to put on shitty cards so the guys stick around. Now you're popularizing them.
No, because we're on football. We're on football sports, and they wouldn't like that shit.
I'm with you.
It's live on football sports at I think the main or the undercard starts around 5 p.m. Pacific.
Beautiful. This Saturday night, 5 Pacific, 5 o'clock Pacific. Fubo Sports Network, 3 title fights. We got to get you and Ocho Cinco on. Maybe you fight him with one hand. Maybe that's because he's up for this stuff, right? Maybe you're on the next card against him.
I'll fight Ocho on my knees if I had to.
Shawne, you were great. Thanks so much. Again, LXF6, October 30th, this Saturday, Burbank, California. It's on the Fubo Sports Network. Shawne Merriman, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Na, 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 na.